I mean, big. Okay. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all here already. Rudy is around, but my daughter's visiting and he wants to spend some time with her. So he's doing well, just to let you know. Ken Newhouse, thank you for your comments there. He says, Mara is the most sought after, most respected, and most trusted source of alternative economics and contrarian views. There are top-rated economic YouTube channels, and there is Maneco 64. That's really nice of you, Ken. Thank you. Nice to see everyone else. Joseph, Revolution on God's Terms, Expansion and Evolution of Human Consciousness is the only antidote. I agree. Jake's Custom Parts is here. Hello, Jake. Dutch Libertarian is here. Ian Carline from New Zealand. Mark Steve Goodwin says, Hi, Mary. Good luck with your operation when you get the call. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that and the NHS as well. Uh, who else is here? Carrie Jenkins from Australia is here. Des Smith. And I apologize if I miss any of you. Over here is here. Seems what's coming is unavoidable. That's why we stack. That's right. It seems for us, of course, it seems normal that we should do that, especially when there's a lot of banks in trouble, and even um, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, says he expects small banks to go under, even though he says it shouldn't spread. I'm not too sure about that, and I want to talk about later on. Yeah, and if you're watching this recorded, skip about 10 minutes. I'm just saying hello to everyone here right now, but we will touch upon the topic, of course, of the title of the video, the live stream, coming bank failures should not worry stackers, and we'll look at why, in my opinion. Of course, this is all my opinion. It's not financial advice, of course. But yeah, I think things are getting very interesting for the whole system. Quadman 72, guten Abend, Quadman. Nice to see you. Marie Doremus is here. Andrew Watson from Basingstoke, he's a regular. Niels Han Dynasty by Silver Platinum and Crystallized Osmium. Chris Snow, Evening Doom Stackers. I don't think it's Doom. Actually, that's the other thing I don't agree with. The Doom is the current system that we have of lies, deceit, uh, theft. That's what we have. Having gold and silver is not Doom. It's protecting yourself from all the bad nature of fiat currency and big government. That's what I think it is. Silverblade says, "Whoop, apocalypse." Well, apocalypse as well is that it's not really necessarily a bad thing. It's just the unwinding. It's the unmasking of you know, uh, of things. People wake up and see that all's not well. Eugene, New York City is following El Salvador to a police state in the name of public safety. I think back in the 80s, New York City, uh, early 80s, I think, mid 80s, had problems, especially in the 70s. And Rudy Giuliani became mayor. And doesn't mean to say I agree with him on everything, but he imposed Yeah, what was it called? But he cleaned up New York City by focusing on the fundamentals, on little things, like graffiti, and he made New York a lot safer. But unfortunately, that's all gone down the drain. Evola sunglasses, are you still doing mugs for sale? Yeah, I mean, I still have the Teespring store below all my videos. There are mugs there. There should be. Frank Brown says, "Hi, Mary. It'd be nice for your wife and daughter to say hello." Well, I don't think they want to do that. This is something my wife is not really into social media. She does watch a lot of YouTube, but that's about it. She's not, yeah, she's a private person, and yeah, we'll stick to what we do here. Cat Vo from Spring Hill, Kansas. MIK or Mick, I had an epiphany regards cryptocurrency after listening to yours and Rafi's viewpoint. I took back my principal plus 20% in profit and bought silver. I don't care what happens to the remaining 39%. BR Williams, hello BR. Eugene, Michael Kennedy, Brandon, very intriguing. 8th of April. Not sure what you mean. 8th of April. Evola Sunglasses says Central London is a disaster. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in Central London. I'm in the outskirts. Purple Mike. Yeah, yeah, let me talk a little bit about the surgery. That didn't happen actually. My wife and uh, I was told that I had to arrive on the day before at 3 p.m. at the hospital. So we took the we were waiting for the train to go to Waterloo East Station from where we live. On the platform, train was going to arrive in 3 minutes, and I get a phone call from the hospital saying that unfortunately they had an emergency. Someone that had an emergency probably had a heart attack, and they had to operate right away on him, so they had to delay my operation. Hopefully, it'll be in April. But next time they give me the date, I won't tell you because it could happen again. So you will know that I've been operated when I'm offline for about 5 or 6 days. Quadman 72 is asking about Rudy. Yeah, I said earlier you weren't here, Quadman. My daughter is around. She's visiting, and he likes he likes spending time with her. So he's with her up in the room. So, but he's okay, Rudy. I went out for a walk with him earlier this evening. He's doing well. Luciano Love from Ohio. We got another few minutes till the top of the hour. The other thing as well, those of you who are watching from the States, you might think I'm starting later than usual, but we haven't changed our clocks. You changed it last week. We only go forward on the 31st of March, which happens to be Easter Sunday as well. High, low blood pressure. Nice to see you here. Belly Dance Arabia. Andrew Bevan is here. He says you should go private. I don't, I don't see why really. I've paid a lot of tax, and I'll probably have the same surgeon that does the private surgery. And I mean, my condition is serious, but it's not urgent, so I'm willing to wait. And yeah, I'm critical of the NHS. It is a socialist system. Unfortunately, it's a system we have. And I think I'm not saying that, yeah, so there you go. Boris Perez says buy the silver that has least premiums, hopefully not at all. That spot was nothing long ago. I would love to move from Germany. Do you have any good destination? Um, I mean, the grass is always greener everywhere. Um, I'm not sure what your situation is, but yeah, there are interesting countries all around. I mean, if you don't want to pay tax, uh, I would say Dubai or the Bahamas. There's not much tax there. Um, maybe even Argentina, things are changing there. Who knows? Um, but one thing I would say, yeah, Germany, even the UK, things aren't great right now, but it's all in cycles. Everything's in cycles. And yeah, not sure. PS, thank you for your super chat. Eat whole foods, plant-based, reverse heart disease. Well, my heart disease is not based on my diet. It's something that I was born with and it got worse. So yeah, that won't do. I did ask uh, the cardiologist when I went to see him uh, in the beginning of January, can I do anything about it with my diet? He said, no, there's nothing you can do. So there you go. Tyke Trucking says Germany is, I won't say the word. I don't think so. I think Germany is a nice country. And so are the German people, Uh, there are problems everywhere. Type trucking. Um, so I don't think so. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. Um, let's get on with it. And I've got a few stories to cover. So yeah, the title of the live stream, Coming Bank Failures Should Not Worry Stackers. And why is that? Well, it might sound weird for some of you who are listening for the first time or haven't heard me say this, but some of you should know by now that there is no money in the banking system except in the central banks that some central banks hold a lot of gold, so that is money. But all the supposed money we have in the banks are all um, yeah, unsecured loans. It's all loans to the banks. And there hasn't been banks with money for many, many decades. You have to go back to 1933 in the US, uh, before World War One in the UK and most of Europe. So yeah, that's why having gold and silver outside the banking system should protect you. It's really simple. It's the old Occam's razor. It's not rocket science. It's not having Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything. That won't protect you from bank failures, nor from what we've seen recently here in the UK. I think yesterday there were some outages for Sainsbury's, which is a major supermarket here, and some of the stores only took cash. Um, so, well, it's not even cash. They took paper, paper money or paper currency, excuse me. So and some people might ask, well, I have to have some currency or some unsecured loans or some balances in the bank to pay my monthly bills. Or if you're a small business or a medium-sized business, you need currency in the bank or unsecured loans to the banks to operate your business. That's true. But I think even for small and medium-sized business, if they have uh, big balances that are sitting there not working for them, I think people should think about having some gold and silver outside the system, not just individuals like us, but also small businesses. So that's why I think that I'm not worried if my bank collapses, NatWest. Yeah, I do have a bit of, balance there, but it's not gonna kill me financially. So I'm not concerned. I wasn't concerned in '08 because I had been stacking already in '08. And the other thing is, well, they will let a lot of small banks go, but I think when it comes to the too big to fail, what will they do? Well, they will print even more. And that will, of course, make the value of those loans or balances you have in the bank lose a lot of value. And even if those uh, balances that you have are still there, they're not going to buy as much as they do now. That's currency debasement. It's the law of supply and demand. That is, inflation of the currency. So I'll stop here at the moment for now, and I'll look at some of your questions. Over here's got a question. Would the dollar and the US economy be in better shape if they had actually printed physical currency as opposed to digits on a computer screen? Well, not really, because unless, well, physical currency, do you mean gold and silver coins? Yes, they would be in better shape. But if they just printed Federal Reserve notes, no, it wouldn't be any different. It wouldn't be in better shape at all. John Bethia, why are banks calling me to give me personal loans and upping my credit card amounts? Well, because banks need loans or else they don't survive. That's how they earn their profit. And yeah, if people, that's why they hate also people like us who stack real money outside the system, because a $5 gold coin is outside the system. They can't lend anything on the back of it. So they they want you. Yeah, I get stuff from my bank as well. I just ignore it. It's just tempting. Some people are tempted by it. They say, 0% as well. That's another one that tries to tempt people. That's why you're getting all of this. It means that yeah, it's the only way to keep this debt-based system going. They have to keep lending to you. They have to find I'm not being rude to you. They just have to find another sucker out there. They have to keep finding the suckers. Um, these taxes uncut will go gold and silver be tokenized. Um, ideally, I think the only way for gold and silver is that coins are minted of gold and silver. I wouldn't trust uh, tokenized gold and silver unless I could go to the bank and say I want my coins. I can redeem them, but because you can never trust, you know, currencies that are backed by gold and held at a bank or wherever. But I see that you're in Texas, I assume. There are states like Texas and others that are working to develop their own gold-backed currencies. Yes, that would be better than the Federal Reserve note. Ideally, though, I'd want to see gold and silver coinage come back, and I think it might. That's what Rafi thinks as well, because it's always very tempting when you can't redeem gold and silver when, and you know how the powers that be like to create crises, and they use it as an excuse to suspend convertibility. So I'd rather really have 100% gold and 100% silver system. And yeah, that's how I see it. But tokenization could happen. Free speech taken. What's the USA national debt projection in 2030? Let's have a look. I mean, right now it's pretty high. It's at 34.5 trillion. US debt clock, I think it projects till 2020, 2028. So it's going to be a high number. Well, for 2028 is projected to be 46.5 trillion. So I would say it's going to be more than 50 trillion by 2030, and it will probably be even worse. Scott 49 140. What's the difference between Fed funds rate and the repo rate? Fed funds rate is the target rate for banks to borrow from each other overnight. Repo rate is the rate that banks use to yeah, the Fed funds rate are not secured loans. The repo rates is secured by treasuries usually. So Fed funds rate is, say, JP Morgan borrows from uh, Bank of America overnight, and they'll use the Fed funds rate, and it's not secured by anything. Repo rate is, let's say, any financial institution, they have some treasuries, they they lend it to overnight to JP Morgan. They sell it overnight to JP Morgan. JP Morgan gives them the cash, so it's secured by uh, by the treasuries. That's basically what it is. And there are repos that are more than overnight, but the Fed funds is just an overnight rate. There's 3 month, and 1 week repos and 1 month repos. Thomas, what is your prediction on silver? Well, I made a video about silver yesterday, and I compared it to cocoa. I think, well, silver is money. More industrial, a lot more industrial than gold. But yeah, silver is gonna be worth a lot more in purchasing power because they are gonna keep inflating the fiat currencies. Uh, as far as prices are concerned, I don't know, but I think we'll see silver make a new all-time high. I don't know when, that 50 level that will be broken. Who knows? Could be this year, could be next year. I don't know. But I like silver. Yeah, and I don't hold it to make money because silver is money too. I hold it because I think it's a safe way to save money. It is money, of course. And when you hold silver coins, be it constitutional silver, bullion, or bars, or numismatic, it's hard to get rid of them because they're such nice pieces of metal, precious metal, that it actually makes you want to save. If you have a balance in the bank, it's much easier to spend it. So I think it's a good way of saving as well. Yeah, over here says 100 days. There, yeah, the debt is increasing a trillion every 100 days. Yeah, and the bigger it gets, you get like a snowball effect. And I think that's why gold is broken out. And I think it's only a matter of time that silver breaks out. It could be tonight. Who knows? And I think right now, with the clocks changing, the futures market opens at 10 London time instead of 11. Cupid Stunt says, "Hi, Mario and Rudy. Everyone, greetings from Warrington." He's late. It's better late than never. Eduardo, why don't I need to be concerned if I hold gold and silver? Well, because if you hold a lot of balances in the bank and the bank goes bust, you're going to lose it all, especially if there's a systemic crisis. Um, I'm not sure the FDIC will be able to cover everything. But if you have gold and silver outside the system, I mean physical gold and silver, you don't care about if a bank goes under, Eduardo. That's the way I see it. Tilly Logan says you don't own anything in the stock market. Yeah, the DTCC. Yeah, I've spoken about the great taking. I made a video, several videos about that. And that is a possibility that they could use your stocks and bonds. If there is a collapse of the system, they could confiscate all of it to basically make whole the too big to fail banks. They did the same thing in the 1930s. In 33, they confiscated people's money, gold, to make the New York banks whole. This time around, it will be stocks and bonds. If they do it, I think there's a lot of people finding out, have heard of this, and hopefully they won't try it. Ray Taylor says if gold hits 10,000, we're in big trouble. Well, society as a whole, yes. I mean, can't you see already how society and the economy is in trouble now with gold just above 2,000? And that's the other thing that they'll probably blame people who are protecting themselves like us. They're going to call us hoarders and misers and everything, and they're going to blame us for all the troubles, even though it was all the inflation. It's all the inflation created by government and the central bank that is the trouble. Pakistan Zindagud. Um, let's give all our money to a company that will hold it for you, pay you nothing for it, and lend it out to others at predatory interest rates. Yeah, that is a good description of the fractional reserve banking system. Well put there, Pakistan Zindagud. Over here saying there are car part shortages in the UK. Sir Alfred says, I don't know what that means. Ted speaks. Uh, Brian Glover, will American banks losing money with low 30-year mortgages go bust? 30-year mortgages are around 7%. I think the way the banks can go bust if they hold yeah, not if interest rates are low. If they rise, they could go bust because they hold a lot of these mortgage securities, and when rates rise, the existing mortgage securities that they have, they lose value. So Frank Kavija, thank you for your super chat. He says, thank you, Mario. Free speech taken says dog food is $70 a bag. Yeah, I've noticed recently, I did a bit of shopping. My wife usually does a lot of the shopping for food, but I did some shopping the other day, and it's like you don't have to buy much to spend 50 pounds. Tim Goodson, have you been following the patent infringement lawsuits uh, fired against Coinbase and Circle? Apparently, their exchanges and investment products are using technology patented by Reggie Middleton. I've heard of Reggie Middleton and I've heard of Coinbase. Circle is actually, I think, owned by Goldman Sachs, but no, I haven't heard about these patent lawsuits. Matt Bittner, did you see any of the news about PBR special dividend confusion? No, I haven't seen that, Matt Bittner. Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. Chris asks, do you think it was a strategic move by the Fed to end the BTFP to collapse? the small and regional banks and thus have the too big to fail come in and scoop them and thus usher in the CBDC much easier? Thanks. Um, well, when they started the program last year, it was supposed to be a 12-month program. So, yeah, you could be right. Maybe the fact that they didn't renew it is that, yeah, they probably are looking for, the JP Morgans of the world to take over a lot of the banks. That's what they did in 1933. If you read The Great Taking, uh, in the forward, and it's a long forward, David Rogers Webb talks about that, how a lot of the regional smaller banks, when they reopened after the bank holiday that FDR had, when the banks reopened, it was only a lot of the big banks reopened and they were given the money from the Fed, the gold, but the smaller banks were left to go under, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So yes, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not sure they'll be able to usher in CBDC. I don't, that would still be up up in the air, in my opinion. And Durarama, thank you for your super chat. To what extent would you expect the impact on precious metals in the banking collapse? What do you think the price discovery would be like? Well, we saw last March, I think, when SVB and the other banks collapsed, gold was doing very well. People were rushing to gold. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't be concerned. And I think the paper market is getting more and more fragile because there's a lot of physical demand from India, China, and other countries. So I wouldn't be concerned. And I think gold and silver are pointing to, the fact that we could see banking troubles ahead, and that the Fed will have to intervene to print even more money. And I spoke yesterday about silver, and I compared it to what's happening to cocoa. The charts look very similar, but I still think there's time for people. Yeah, there's a really good win. Gold is, breaking out, and it's at all-time highs. But I think uh, there's still time to get silver. It's still really cheap, and I think, and if you guys are looking to buy silver, you should check out Mouse Franklin. Um, they've got some interesting specials here. They've got 90% silver, pre-65, just under $2 over spot. Pre-1933 gold pieces, 65 over spot. That's pretty good. And palladium, if you're interested. I don't have any palladium. And all you need to do is send them an email, info@milesfranklin.com, mention Mario or Monaco 64, or call them on this number, 1-800 822 8080. Yeah, that's in the US. In the UK, of course, you can look at the details below in the description of all my videos, and I'm affiliated with Gold Investments. So I'm not trying to tell people to go and do it, but I think it's a great opportunity. There you go. Native American thinks eBay is the cheapest place for silver. Yeah, I bought stuff off eBay, but sometimes um, you can't really get everything you want on eBay. Hio Silver thinks gold at 2,500 by the end of the year. It's very possible. Platinum, yeah, I think platinum will do well. I think all the commodities are looking really good. Um, yeah, and I think gold is leading the way, just like it did in 2020, 2019, 2020. Gold led the way. Echo, no, there's no VAT on silver in the US. But again, I don't worry about this VAT. I keep stacking silver because uh, I think silver will have huge amounts of purchasing power, and the 20% VAT that I pay now or that I've paid in the past will become irrelevant. You gotta swallow that VAT, I think. And I think it's good to have both gold and silver. Pakistan's in the good. Are you concerned about the fact that silver you hold in your hand and always have on your head? Mine was used to betray Jesus and has the mark of the beast upside down 666. Why, it wasn't silver that betrayed Jesus. Yeah, it was Judas. So silver in itself is just a precious metal. Uh, cannot buy or sell without it. I think people should be able to buy or sell with whatever they want. Um, yeah, and we don't have that today because we have legal tender laws. Jard Jardank, why are gold and silver miners not booming with the new gold price highs? I don't know. Probably because there's too much interest elsewhere, still in tech and cryptos, and people are missing out. I think it's, you know, I uh, I prefer physical gold and silver. Miners can be very speculative, of course, but I think they're dirt cheap. So it's just yeah, people are gonna look back and say, wow, I should have bought gold, gold and silver miners back in 2024 in the beginning of the year. Scott, 49 140, do you think we're on another cusp of another September 2019 crisis with interest rates rising, draining the system of liquidity? Uh, Maybe, but the reason the liquidity has kept up, I think, is because of fiscal policy. It's still very expensive. And yeah, I'm not sure what could trigger a crisis next, but commercial real estate, yes. But I think they're going to keep a close eye on things. Echo Echo says, I think crypto is going to hurt young people, turn them into gamblers. I think it's already doing that. Um, Free speech taking, Mario, what happened to Weimar Republic stock market? Well, the stock market companies that were involved in the production of real things did okay. They're okay to hold. It was more the financial sector that got destroyed in Weimar hyperinflation. Maggie Mays, what is your take on the latest silver import numbers from India? I haven't read the details, but apparently it's really big, and it could affect the supply for the paper market. So, but just looking at the at gold, the price action in gold and the price action in silver makes them believe that silver could break out. And yes, silver has been, yeah, we know there's a shortage of silver, and that silver production is not really, there hasn't been that much exploration. And it's only a matter of time that all this paper supply is gonna, people, the paper peddlers are gonna get hurt. That's the way I see it. Tilly Logan, that's a good point. The great taking can only be taken from what they control. And that's why I think having real things outside the system, not just gold and silver, but valuable assets, you can decide whatever you want, is a good strategy. There's a good book as well, When Money Dies, by Adam Ferguson about the Weimar hyperinflation. What's me? Oh yeah, this is I wanted to show you a few things here from X or Twitter that I think are significant. I think this happened yesterday. Sainsbury's and Tesco cancel home deliveries after being hit by IT meltdowns. Supermarkets' technical problems understood to be unrelated and not being investigated as potential cyber attack. Look at that, cash only. Can you imagine? This just goes to show that a digital world, digital currency, uh, is really a bad idea because they'll control us totally. But if you still have, and I call it cash, but it's not technically it's not cash. It's a promissory note for cash, and cash is really gold and silver coins, but that's a different story. But yeah, that's why it's so important that we do not accept uh a cashless society. And this happened yesterday here in the UK. About the banks, the reason why I think the banks might not be doing well, I followed this guy. He used to work for the New York Fed, I think, and he follows the banking sector a lot. I spoke about the FDIC. They finally published their data. The losses were not as big in the fourth quarter because bond markets went up and the assets of the banks weren't losing as much. But this is what he retweeted the other day from someone else here. And this person said, I've long felt we were in the eye of a hurricane that would cease to be calm when we slammed into increasing delinquency issues, igniting possible bank runs. Clearly, New York Community Bank Corp appears to be one such example. My bet is there will be more. So this guy, who is a really well-known banking analyst, retweeted that, and I think that's significant. And this is what he said about the FDIC fourth quarter report. And I know the unrealized losses, they shrunk, but this is what he said. So the US banking industry had a particularly disappointing Q4, but nobody says a word. Quarterly net income fell by 43.9% from the third quarter, driven by higher non-interest and provisions expense and lower non-interest income. So yeah, the banking, that's why I think it's really important to have have some gold and silver outside the system. And the thing is that things could get so bad that the FDIC might not be able to cover even the people with balances below 250,000. P, thank you for your super chat. Wells Fargo fraud called cause I took dollars out just under 10,000. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. They treat you like a criminal, the banks, and it isn't really your currency or your money in the bank. It's an unsecured loan, and it's in every Western country, every country in the world. It's because, as I said earlier in the live stream, banks don't hold money. They haven't held money in the States since I guess 1964. They held silver for depositors, silver coins. But gold coins, they haven't held money, real money, since 1933. And in Europe, it's even earlier. Truth teller, if cryptocurrency is priced in dollars and if currency fails, will cryptos go south as well? Yeah, cryptocurrencies are a derivative of the fiat dollar, while the fiat dollar is a derivative of gold. So yeah, I wouldn't want to have crypto if the dollar collapse. I don't know what's going to happen to it, but it's let's show. I'm going to show you Exter's pyramid. And I would say, the Bitcoin crowd would say that Bitcoin is at the bottom of the pyramid, but I beg to differ. So let's share this. And crypto doesn't have a record of thousands of years. So there you go. Gold and silver are down here. There's no silver here, but believe me, silver is here. There's it's not really paper money, it's paper currency. The dollar bills or the pound notes, government bonds and treasury bills. I would put cryptos up here somewhere, under like with derivatives and stuff, and maybe speculative businesses. So if we have a total collapse of the system, all the liquidity would flow this way down here and eventually to gold and silver. That's John Exter's inverted pyramid. Who's John Exter? Well, let's have a look. Uh, John Exter was an American economist, member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, founder of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, also known for creating Exter's pyramid. So he was a gold bug as well. And he did very well in the 70s when gold went up and the miners went up. So there's John Exter. He died in 2006. I remember reading about John Exter already around 2003 or 4. So College of Worcester, that's in Ohio. I had a client when I worked in the city of London. He actually worked for Citibank in New York, and he went to the College of Worcester. This client of mine. Anyway, that's something just to. Pakistan Zindagud says just keep trading crypto and buying silver and gold and farmland, food and water. I'm not sure. I mean, if trading is not your profession, I don't think you should do that. Trading is a really difficult game. Very few people succeed. Um, yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy gold and silver and prepare, get farmland, but do that through your daytime job. Don't get involved in trading. And why do I say that? Unless you're a professional trader. Um, I mean, I was a broker for over 20 years and I traded for my clients and I traded for myself. And I can tell you it's really tough, but people will try it. It's up to them. Free will and all that. Uh, Brazilianaire, what ratio of gold silver ratio do you think is ideal? Well, historically, the gold silver ratio has been around 15. Some people think it's lower. I'm not sure if you mean how much gold and silver you should have. That's up to each individual. Some people prefer gold, some people prefer silver, some people are indifferent. But yeah, the gold silver ratio should go a lot lower than where we're now. Matt Bittner, oil is probably going to do well considering the drone strikes on Russian refineries. Yeah, crude oil, WTI and Brent's closed quite well. They're looking bullish. The CRB is looking bullish as well. A lot of the commodities are perking back up. I think it's telling us that we're going to get another bout of liquidity, not inflation. Well, inflation of the money supply and the currency, and then higher prices of commodities because commodities don't cause inflation. That's the other fallacy that we get from the mainstream. When the price of oil goes up, it's they say, oh, oil is causing inflation. No, oil prices are going up because there's too much liquidity in the system, too much funny currency. It's not even money. Yeah, Ibrahim uh, Kui- Kuimku, I think silver is looking good, especially with gold breaking out. It's just a matter of time. Uh, and it's been a long wait, but I think it's ready to go. I think the key level is going to be 26. We break above 26. It might stop a little bit at 30, but it's going to go straight up, in my opinion. When? I don't know. It could be tomorrow, could be in 2 or 3 months. Who knows? But if you're not a trader, it doesn't matter. If you're a stacker, you just have to sit and be patient. Do you think QE is different? No. They're both money printing exercises. No difference. There are people who say QE is deflationary, but they've been proven completely wrong because deflation is when the currency supply and credit shrink. When you do QE, you get the opposite. You get inflation. So no, it's the same. It's all going to end in tears. Unintelligent thinks natural gas stocks are a great trading arena, really volatile. There's a lot of places to trade, a lot of places. Mary, why do you say it will go up after 30? I think 26 now is more important than the 30 level in silver. 2, 3 years ago, 30 was really important, but I think if we break through 26, it might not even stop at 30. It might just stop a little bit there, but it will probably go almost straight up to 50, I would say. Larry Saunders, what silver should we be stacking? Um, any silver really. Silver Eagles, yeah. Junk, yeah, or constitutional, silver bars, whatever, you know, whatever you prefer. I mean, I have all kinds of silver. Over here, do you see the election in the US? How volatile? Well, I'm not sure what do you mean, how volatile? How volatile the election or the markets? John Seco, why are hedge funds and banks on opposite sides of all the time? Bank short, hedge long. Not necessarily. A lot of the hedge funds were created by ex-bankers, so sometimes they do the same thing. But for the paper, gold and silver, yes, they seem to be a lot of times on a different end of the trade. Uh, Jardank says abolish fractional reserve banking. Yeah, that's a difficult thing to do. Even if you didn't have central banks uh, or legal tender laws, bankers will always find a way to take advantage of the deposits of money that you put with them, mainly because most depositors don't take their money, they leave the money there, the gold and silver coins, and they don't take it out all the time. So they lend stuff that they don't have, hoping that you don't go there. Um, I think it's a difficult one. I'm not saying it's right, but I think it's fraud. Yeah, it should be more. I don't know how you solve it, more regulation, but it doesn't look like in the current system they want to see the end of fractional reserve because it fills the pockets of the bankers and the politicians and the big corporations who have ready access to that funny money. We, the public, get it like later on, and by the time we get it, it's not worth as much. Ray Taylor, nationalize the Fed? No, I think that's a bad idea. You got to abolish the Fed altogether. No central banks. Why do you need a monopoly for banking? You don't have a national bread, federal bread corporation. Why nationalize the Fed? It's already national, kind of a hybrid. I think you should abolish it. Bad idea to nationalize the Fed. Uh, I think the market, the free market should, yeah, we don't need a Fed or a Bank of England. Newton specified a 40% ratio with the gold standard. Uh, well, I'm not sure that's necessary. I don't kind of don't agree with Newton. I think if you leave your money in the bank just for safety, they shouldn't lend it out. But you might want to leave your money in the bank and allow and say, yeah, you can lend it for a month, but then you won't be able to take it out for a month. Um, yeah, I don't think fractional reserve lending is actually yeah, it's a fraud because you're lending something you don't have, and that's what creates all the problems out there. Mr. B, smash the like buttons. Yeah, follow and subscribe. Share far and wide. Be your own bank. That's right. Bob Dublin says, so long as there is government, there will be a Fed. Not necessarily because the Fed wasn't around prior to 1913. So there you go. Matt Bittner, would large transactions look like, what would large transactions look like without a central bank? Large? They would look large. Why do I'm don't really get your question. I would I don't really get your question. They would just be large transactions between you and your bank or between two banks. That's how they would look. I don't really see a need for central banks. Petrolhead, the ECB are paying millions in interest and constantly borrowing on the central bank liquidity swap operation. It's a signal of euro trouble. How can the ECB be borrowing from the central bank liquidity swap? I'm not sure. Do you mean the European banks? I'm sure the European banks are just as in trouble. as the American banks. Pino Kunchner, Janet Yellen, and Gitmo. Yeah, I agree with that. Her and a lot of other people, not just Janet Yellen, Bernanke, Powell, Greenspan. Greenspan's still around, alive and kicking. CoinOp. Great job. I enjoy your videos all the time. Oh, thank you, CoinOp. And we got about 10 minutes. Over here says, I get a kick out of your financial words. Discipline. I understand you're driving various points. Destruction X says buy Bitcoin. Warning signs. Haggai 2:8. The gold is mine, the silver is mine, declares the Lord Almighty. Uh, learn, learn, learn. Well, that's a weird word, whatever that word is. Do you own farmland? No, I don't. Belly Dance Arabia. Mark the Silver Shark. OMG, I love coconuts. Larry Sanders says Kissinger screwed us. I, I don't know. I think it's more than just Kissinger, really. I think we got to go back a long time, maybe 1913. And World War One, I think, screwed the West. I think a lot of the troubles emanate from World War One. Ray Taylor Franklin went to England and was asked how come his area and colonies was doing good. Yeah, they had the colonial script. Yeah, a lot of people think that the government issuing currency or script not attached to debt or paying having interest is a good thing. I'm not too convinced about that. I don't think the government has yeah, government doesn't create anything. I don't think it's I think it should be left to the market to decide what money is. I think the reason that Massachusetts and the other colonies had to do it is because London was restricting the flow of real money to the colonies, so they had to do that. But in an ideal world, the only duty of the government is to mint the coin, and sometimes you could have even private mints, but usually the government mints the coins, gold and silver, because the governments are supposed to be more credible and have the reputation. So to make sure the coins are like up to standard and not counterfeit. So I don't agree with the Bradbury pound. The reason the Bradbury pound took place in the UK during World War One is because there was a war, and gold and silver are not the problem. The gold standard is not the problem. The problem is that the bankers lend too much. It's that old fractional reserve. They lend too much, and they don't have enough money to pay out, and then they just stop paying out. And they say, "Oh, we left the gold standard." No, you just screwed everyone, and you kept their money. So, and the solution is not for government to print pieces of paper with dollar or sterling written on it. The solution is to let people uh, trade freely and use whatever they want as money. It might not be gold and silver. It could be salt, as it used to be, or cigarettes. At the end of the war in Germany, people used cigarettes as money. coin op. If central banks go to a digital currency, wouldn't that make all other digital currencies counterfeit and government outlaw them? Not necessarily, because they would be different from the government currency. They would be competition. What would happen is they probably ban the digital currency, the other digital currencies. Brazilian, if FDR hadn't made gold ownership illegal in 33, what do you think its value would be today? Well, it'd still be an ounce of, $20 would still be almost an ounce of gold. What you need to ask is how much would it be buying today? Gold, an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver never changes because they're money. It's all about purchasing power. I think the dollar would be a lot stronger. The dollar would be gold and silver. There you go. Uh, Cocky Hemi, what do you think of Lysander Spooner's essay, The Constitution of No Authority? Yeah, I think I've read Lysander Spooner a long time ago, and don't remember that book or essay that you're mentioning, but he was a kind of a libertarian, and I kind of agree with Lysander Spooner, but I'd have to look it up again. Belly dancer, where's Lord Humongous? Yeah, I haven't seen him around. He hasn't been around. Eduardo, do you think it's old world money who are still in control? Yeah, I do. I do. They own all the gold and a lot of the land. David G, do you think the US will ever see another Andrew Jackson? Yeah, and it's possible. Uh, I think Ron Paul could have been another Andrew Jackson, but I think he's what, he's like 88 now. But he's still quite, yeah, he's still compos mentis, much more than the current president. But yeah, I'm not sure about the guy who's running against Biden, whether he will really be an Andrew Jackson. But yeah, Andrew Jackson was that was the last time the national debt was paid in 1835. It was paid off. Uh, mod Modulus, do you think liquidity issue pops up before the election? Yeah, it could very well do so. I mean, the '08 crisis popped up before the '08 election. So there's no rule that says you can't have a crisis before an election. We had 2020, we had a engineered crisis, in my opinion, before the election. Barry Radford, yes, any sterling silver jewelry is good to buy. Yeah, it's silver. Yeah, Spock 2024 says he met Ron Paul. I met Ron Paul in 2002 as well. My wife and I, we went to the Mises Institute 20th anniversary conference, and he was there. And I had a chat with Dr. Ron Paul in 2002. So this is how long I've been, and we were talking about gold. And he said that I asked him, oh, he told me that he took the essay that Greenspan wrote in 66 about gold and economic freedom. He took that to him and he autographed it. And he said, I asked him, do you still believe in everything you wrote in 1966? And he said, yes. So Greenspan believes in sound money, small government. But he said the reason why we don't have it, he said, is not because of me, is because politically people want the inflation. People always want, the majority of people don't understand inflation, and they actually clamor for it. And what do I mean by that? Well, they want the government to look after them. The only way for the government to do that is to inflate the currency or tax people. That's why I do my videos, to try to explain to the public that there's no such thing as a free lunch, and that the government can only give you something if they take it away from someone else, which is morally reprehensible in my opinion. But so, even conservatives think it's okay, at least here in the UK. Echo, echo, are you pleased with higher rates in Japan? Uh, I don't think they have raised rates yet in Japan, but they are talking about going away from a negative rate. Yeah, that's gonna make the bond market in the West even more of a losing proposition, because they're going to reverse the yen carry trade. So, but that will take a bit of time. And you can never trust what these central bankers say. They could be just talking about this. We'll have to wait and see for them to really raise rates. Yeah, the Mises Institute is in Auburn, Alabama. Yeah, we flew to Atlanta, and then they had yeah, they picked us up in like a, what do you call those? A van or something. And we drove to Auburn from there. Auburn is a pretty small town. It's not that big. There is a university there. So I'll take a one or two more questions because it's already 10 o'clock. Thank you, Echo. Echo says, have a good week, Marion Rudy. Where's Rudy? Well, he's upstairs with my daughter. She came to visit, and he's quite attached to her, so I left him there. He's okay though. CoinOp says, when we get bigger, I'd like to have you as a guest on our podcast. No problem. Let me know. Uh, John Lineker, what is your favorite silver piece? Um, it's difficult, but one of the silver coins that I like are the old florins, which is like a UK coin. Um, yeah, like pre 1920, and they're sterling coins. They're about like a $50, as I said. I really like them. They're beautiful coins. So there you go. Um, Scott 49140, are you worried about capital gains tax on foreign coins? Not really, because I don't have too many of them, but I think the secret here is to not to sell all of them at once, just to leak them out so you don't go over the threshold. That's why coins of the realm are the best to have. Chris Conman, are you going to interview Larry Leopard or Lepard? I've never interviewed him, and he's blocked me from Twitter because I was critical of Bitcoin. So there you go. I probably will never interview him. Anyway, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and I want to wish you all a great start to the week, and we'll keep in touch. and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.